Now it's time to understand the Insights Discovery Wheel. The one in your profile shows your unique wheel position, which we'll explain in a minute. It tells you more about you and your preferences. If you're experiencing this course as a team, you might have the Insights Wheel with all of your team members on it, and we call this the Insights Team Wheel. At first glance, we know that this wheel looks very complicated to most people. But as we break it down for you piece by piece, we will help you understand what it means to you, and especially what it means when teams see themselves plotted on the wheel together. It's an excellent way to understand a team culture, as well as to understand which team members are like you, which ones are very different from you, and also which ones might be able to help you in different situations where different preferences might be needed. The first thing you see is that the wheel is comprised of 24 spokes. That's because there are 24 unique color combinations, and each spoke in the wheel represents one of those 24 combinations. At the heart of the wheel, of course, in the center, you see the 4 original colors: fiery red, sunshine yellow, earth green, and cool blue. Emanating out from those 4 central colors in each of the 24 spokes, people can see where they are represented based on the order of their 4 color energies. If someone is in the same spoke as you, they share the same order of color energies, but in each of the spokes, you'll notice that there's 3 positions, or 3 rings in the wheel. And those 3 rings represent the intensity of the color energies, and whether each of the colors is above the midline or below it. You'll also notice that you either have 1 or 2 dots on your Insights wheel in your profile. If it looks like you have just 1 dot, you actually have 2, but they sit directly on top of each other. About 2/3 of people have what looks like 2 dots. One of them is faded or dimly colored, which represents your less conscious persona, and then the bright dot, which we call your actual wheel position. It represents your conscious persona, which is you being self-aware in the moment. If your 2 dots sit on top of each other and it looks like 1, you tend to change less than others because the order of the colors is the same when you are aware and also when you're unaware of your behavior. You have 2 colors in inclined usage and 2 lesser colors in what we call reluctant usage below the midline. If you have any other combination between your color order or intensity above and below the midline, then you'll see both the faded and the bright dot on your wheel. As we talk from this point forward about the team wheel, it's always the bright dot that we use, which is simply you when you're thinking about how you're showing up. In looking again at the 3 rings, if your bright dot is in the outermost ring, it's because you have just 1 color energy above 50%, or above the midline as we call it, in your left-hand conscious graph. It suggests that you strongly demonstrate that 1 color and are reluctant to demonstrate the other 3 below the midline. We call this position on the wheel the focused ring because an individual here is likely focused on mainly 1 color energy and how they show up. It's not common, however, as we only see it 3% of the time. Moving in towards the center of the wheel, the next ring we call classic. If your bright dot falls in this middle ring, it's because you have 2 colors above the midline and 2 colors below. It's actually the most common position that we see for people. And it's because people most typically use their top 2 color energies. In fact, 54% of our profiles are people whose wheel position falls into this classic ring. Moving inward again to the smallest ring in the center, it represents those people who demonstrate 3 color energies above the midline and have reluctant usage of only 1. Surprisingly though, 43% of all our respondents in the profile fall into this smaller ring. We call it accommodating because it suggests that individuals are capable of accommodating comfortably 3 of the 4 color energies. This doesn't guarantee that they'll be better communicators, but it does suggest that they have more opportunity to draw on more color energies than they naturally possess than someone in either the classic or the focused ring. Moving now beyond the 24 spokes and the 3 rings, you'll notice that 8 of the spokes are gray. These spokes are gray because they represent a pathway, or literally a bridge, back and forth from one side of the wheel to the other side. If your bright dot falls in one of these gray spokes, it means that your top 2 colors are opposite. Carl Jung defined these as creative types. He suggested that there is a creative tension when someone can move back and forth between 2 opposite preferences. The 8 gray spokes represent a person's ability to more comfortably demonstrate all 4 of the Insights colors because they lead with 2 opposite colors when they are aware, and with the other 2 color energies when they are unaware of how they're showing up. What that means is that people who lead with opposite colors can jump back and forth across the wheel showing opposite behaviors. For example, they can jump from showing cool blue to sunshine yellow quite easily, which means they can be quite versatile, but also hard for other people to recognize their unique style or their preferred color energies in any given moment. Lastly, you see the 8 labels around the outside of the Insights wheel, and we simply call these the 8 types. At first glance, you see the original 4 colors there, but you also see 4 new blended colors, which are how we move from 4 colors to 8 types. These 8 types represent the likely behavior of someone whose wheel position falls into one of them. And in the next video, we'll share much more about the 8 types and how you can learn more about yourself and others with a deeper understanding of them. And if you're wondering about the numbers representing all 72 positions on the wheel, well, they're simply like a street address, simply a way to point out each of the positions and identify where they are, but the numbers have no meaning by themselves.